swear it'll get interesting at some point. It won't just be a bass line, I swear. What's going on? Howdy, folks. How the hell are you? What's going on? You guys out there, you guys are alive? Are you surviving? You know what I'm saying? What's going on out there? What's up, Duke Raoul? Been riding brooms since she was 15, blowing all the other bitches off the scene. She got a poet just as long as you're lying. Her tongue can't even scratch the soul out the devil's wife. Well, I've seen her in action at the Player's Choice, turning all the love men into donut boys. Hey, red hot mama, you better step aside. This chick's gonna turn you to a block of ice. Now look out, Dolly. Dagger. Her love so heavy, gonna make you stagger, baby, Dolly. Dagger. Now she drinks her blood from a jagged edge. Now drink up, babe. Look at old burnout Superman trying to shoot his dust on the sun. Captain Karma kids are dead on the run. No words of love till they ever touch Dolly Brown. Better clear some highway and get out of town. Here comes Dolly. Dagger. Her love so heavy, gonna make you stagger, baby, Dolly. Dagger, baby. She drinks her blood from a jagged Been riding broomsticks since she was 15, blowing all the other witches off the scene. She got a poet just as long as you're lying. Her tongue can't even scratch the soul out the devil's wife. Well, I seen her in action at the Player's Choice, turn all the love men into donut boys. Hey, red hot mama, you better step aside. This chick's gonna turn you to a block of ice. Now look out, Dolly. Dolly. Dagger. This all so heavy, gonna make you stagger, baby, Dolly. Dagger, baby. Drinks of blood from a jagged edge. Been riding broomsticks since she was 15, blowing all the other witches off the scene. She got a poet just as long as you're lying. Her tongue can't even scratch the soul out the devil's wife. Well, I've seen her in action at the Player's Choice, turning all the love men into donut boys. Hey, red hot mama, you better step aside. This chick's gonna turn you to a block of ice. Now look out, Dolly. Something like that, right? What's going on, everybody? Hey, what's up, Enderino? How we doing, brother? Cheers, man. What's going on? Yeah, man, just been chilling. Been trying to learn some new songs, right? So, well, one of them's not new. It's a song I play all the time, right? But I figured out more of a correct way to play it, and then I'm trying to work on the intro. The intro stuff, I was just doing it, all right? So, what I'm trying to do is play that Hey Baby / New Rising Sun, right? Song that Hendrix was working on, you know, shortly before he died. All right, so this is what you guys recognize from it. I normally play it like this. I normally play it like this. But that's just wrong, you know what I mean? Here's how it actually goes. It goes like this. So it sounds better like that with that D chord. I needed that right there, you know? You know? And then on top of that, all right, so the intro to that one is this, like this. It's tough, man. I'm going to miss a lot of notes on this one. Just bear with me, right? So here goes my attempt at the intro. I'm getting there, and then eventually it just turns into the... right, so that's one of the rhythms right there. Let's stack another one on top. Or make the second half. Yep. I'm gonna grab a shot. You guys down to do some more jamming? I'm down. Where's Net TV at tonight? He's gonna show up. He's gonna be like, how am I late to the party? All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a shot. We'll just loop this up here. I've been trying to work on the sound on the mixer to try to make sure everything's pretty well balanced. As far as like the drums and everything else and all, the singing, the guitar. It's been tough to get it balanced. But I looked up, because this mixer's new, right? Check it out. See, it's a new mixer. It's fairly new. And I sold the old one to get this one. And so I've been, trying to learn how to function everything. Cheers, mofo. Yeah, I just brought my shot in. I took one while I was in there, and I was like, I'm going to bring a second one up in here. But, yeah, I think it works out good, man. Yeah, it looks crazy, right? Check this out. So it's a big boy mixer. It's the real deal. Real deal Holyfield. But I sold the last one I bought. I was making payments on it, right? And I bought it for $550 or something. I think I got out the door, tax and everything, for like $650, $647, I think it was. And it was decent. It was all right. It was like a digital mixer, and I thought it was okay. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, I'm gonna go analog. That's the sound that I like, you know. So I sold it for $100 more than I paid for it. And then I got this pile right here while I got a footprint installed, my last one. No. But so this is the Soundcraft FX16-2. And it's a damn good mixer. I like this mixer. It's handy. But it's been taking me a while to figure out how to use it, because the various levels of gain, you know. Because not only is it these little sliders that you can adjust, before you even set up the sliders, you can have basically, you can adjust the microphone sensitivity. So how sensitive you want this thing to be to that particular microphone, you can adjust that. That's how it is with every mixer, but fine-tuning in that is where you get your best sound. And so that's where we're at now. I'm trying to get the best sound out of it, and we're getting there. I think the drums should sound more punchy tonight. The snare drums should sound a little bit better. And not the live acoustic set. I have been working on that too, but it's harder to do it late night. Can't really play that one late night. But I've been feeling like the sound has been really good on this right here. Like, so just those drums right there. Like I feel like the drum rolls are a little bit more punchy. Especially with the looped up guitar. And the vocals sound decent, right? Hey, baby, where do you come from? Nat TV, how the fuck are you, brother? What's going on, man? Thanks, Vanderino. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it works out pretty damn well, right? Hey, baby, where do you come from? Well, she grinned and looked off into space, and then she said, coming from the land of the new rising sun. And then she asked me if I'd like to come along. Yeah. Loving the sound? Yeah. Gemma Church, what's going on? How you doing? Man, I stayed up till 3:30 last night. Feel bad today. You never learn. Electric Church, yeah, Gemma Church, Electric Church, that's right. There we go. Thanks for loving the sound, I like that. I have turned off all political streams. Over it, yeah, I know, man. Dude, I think we're in the same boat, Net TV. It's like, it's just getting out of control. I mean, it's been out of control forever, and we all know that it's been scripted, but they've ramped up the script so much, it's like a dying show. You guys remember back in the day when everybody, I don't watch all these shows, but you remember when everybody was talking about Lost? They were like, oh yeah, this is a crazy show, they're on this island or whatever. I never watched it, but I remember people telling me that they were like, oh, you know, the show was like this, the show was like that, and they kept ramping it up. Now it's vampires, now it's this, now it's that. Apocalyptic nightmare. They just kept ramping it up to get views, you know? And that's where we're at now. They just keep ramping it up to get the views because the news and the whole scam of the political sphere has got clickbaity. So it's all clickbaity. It's like, can you believe Trump? Can you believe Biden? Can you believe this? And I'm like, you know what? I can't believe I paid attention for so long. It's like I'm fucking checking out, man. And you know, where I go to hang out is I listen to Jimi Hendrix on vinyl and maybe learn a couple Jimi Hendrix songs, you know. I learn other songs by other people too, but Hendrix is my spirit animal. So I go to, you know, when I go to my sacred space, I'm like, what WWJD? What would Jimmy do? Not in like a neurotic way. I know some people are like, you know, like there's probably like a crazy Britney Spears fan out there who would stalk her and, you know, shit would get wild, but I just feel like I understand Jimmy. Like he's my peeps. That's the kind of person I not only aspire to be like, really. I aspire to play like him on guitar, but in actuality, the way that I feel as a person and the way that I flow through life, I always feel these synchronicities with Jimmy. I'm just like, dude, that's, I don't know. That's the guy, man. That's the dude. Well, cheers. I'm going to take this shot. I hear my son screaming back there. Give my wife a hard time. It's terrible. You know, same old, same old. Just a father of three boys, trying to recreate something that a 27-year-old who has been dead for like 54 years, just trying to create some of the sounds that he made, you know? Let's try to do the intro and everything. Here we go. What am I shooting? Oh man, that's just Tito's vodka. But I was shooting Bullet bourbon, but we ran out. We'll try to roll with that.
missed my cue there. That's all right. We'll re-record it. There we go, right? Here we go.
Here comes darling. Yeah, girl. Her soul so heavy, gonna make you stagger, darling. Yeah, girl. She drinks her blood from a jagged edge. Watch out, baby, here comes your master. Been riding broomstick since she was 15. Lord, all the other witches all the same. She's got a bullwhip just as long as your life. Her tongue can't even scratch your soul out the devil's wife. Well, I seen her in action at the Player's Choice. Turn all the love men into donut boys. Hey, Red Hot Mama, you better step aside. This chick's gonna turn you to a block of ice. Now look out. Look at old burned out Superman trying to shoot his dust on the sun. Captain Comic Kids, they're dead on the run. Tell them what's love till they have to touch Charlie Brown. Better get some highway and clear out of town. Look out, Dolly, dagger. It's all so heavy, gonna make you stagger, baby, Dolly. That's all so heavy, gonna make you stagger, baby, darling. Yeah, she drinks her blood from a jagged edge. Been riding broomstick since she was 15. Drove all the other witches off the scene. She's got a poem just as long as your life. Her tongue can't even scratch your soul out the devil's wife. I seen her matching at the Player's Choice. Turn all the love men into donut boys. Hey, Red Hot Mama, you better step aside. This chick's gonna turn you to a block of ice. Now look. You know what I'm saying?
Something like that. That's something I've been working on. And once again, The intro to this song right here is what I've been working on. All right, so here we go. Been checking out Trovo last couple of days. Seems damn good. Very similar to D-Live. Okay, y'all make an account. I'll check it out. Loads of people getting on there from here, then stream to both. Deal. Yeah, I'm gonna make that happen. Don't you worry. Anyways, I'm working on that. But let's play some other stuff. But yeah, that song right there is the intro to this right here. It's a good one. Yeah, Marv is legit. Yeah, dude. He gave me the fattest host I've ever been hosted before, which was like 200 and something people. I need another shot to make this one happen. All right. I'll be right back. We're now currently sponsored by Tito's Vodka. Hey Joe, I heard you shot your woman down. Hey Joe, I heard you shot your woman down. Yes, I did. I shot her. You know, I caught her messing around town. Yes, I did. I shot her. You know, I caught her messing around on the other side of town. And I gave her the gun. Yes, I did. I shot her. You know, I caught her messing around with another man. And that ain't too cool. Hey, Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? I said, hey, Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Yeah, he said, ain't no hangman gonna hang him. Ain't no hangman gonna put a rope around me. Yeah. Ain't no hangman gonna put a rope around me. You better believe. Yeah. Yes, I did. I shot her. You know, I caught her messing around town. Well, they asked me where I was gonna go. Don't you know, went on down to Mexico. Yeah. Going way down south. Well, ain't no chain man gonna put a rope around me. No. Rope around me. Ain't no hangman gonna. He ain't gonna put no rope around me. You better believe. Yeah. Hey Joe, I heard you shot your woman down. Yeah. Hey Joe, you know I heard from down the street that you shot
Yeah. Yes, I did. I shot him. Yeah, they tried to put a rope around me. Yes, I did. I shot her. I found out she was trying to vote for Joe Biden. Am I supposed to hit every single note? Vaping over there? Nice. What you vaping on? What you got? Let's do a little bit of vape and tell. Yeah, so I'm still, I feel like I've got this mixer figured out pretty well. Like if I wanted to shut off the effects. Boom, no effects. Super dry. Now it sounds like your favorite news reporting station. It's like, can you believe Joe Biden's inauguration? Can you believe it? I mean, can you believe it? Can you really believe it? No, I can't believe it, but whatever. No. Net TV. Unbelievable. No, it hasn't showed up yet. I wish. I messaged him. Not trying to be too pushy, but I'm like, yo, what's going on with that extremely expensive pedal? It's time to smoke, though. It's time to smoke. Now, my producer urges me to make sure that I tell everybody about this. For all intents and purposes, anything smoked on this stream is actually organic oregano grown in my backyard. It's safe to smoke organic oregano. There you go, whatever. Allegedly. Yeah. I love that sticker too. Yeah. That's the baby from the dinosaurs. Not the mama. Hit him on top of the head with a frying pan. It's a classic. But yeah, man. When the rubber hits the road, this whole system is built against us, right? It is what it is. So these moments right here we have to cherish. These moments on the internet, people keep talking about censorship. I'm like, dude, how do you even say this? But with the amount of people that I know, right? And the amount of people that I know that specifically have been fed up with the censorship, and they're like I'm trying to live past this and not try to be a part of this totalitarian regime or whatever. It's few and far between, guys. We've been finding each other online and talking about it, and too many of these people have been pacified by certain information on the internet, At the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be some big giant movement that's going to make everybody truly free. Because that's not what the history books tell us. There's nothing new under the sun, right? And when you look at history, you're going to see a couple things, right? You're going to see that the same stuff keeps happening over and over and over, right? If you got a problem with some totalitarian regime or some dictator, you topple that dictator. There's 10 of them lying in wait. They're coming back to get it. So where does true freedom exist? What do you do in the wake of the fact that
the cards are stacked against you, and there's families out there or just mentalities in general that have been so negative for so long that they've they, they've got it figured out, man. They've got the money, they've got this, they got that, right? But what they don't have is control over the way that you feel. You have to be complicit in this system. These assholes that run these wicked operations all over us, right? There's some, they're infatuated with the occult, right? And so they feel that if they don't give us the proper information, that they're guilty for it, right? So they got to alleviate themselves by putting the information out there. The information's out there, If you can't see that Monsanto and Pepsi Cola are out there to try to kill you and ruin your life, and the political party is just shenanigans to kind of distract you. I mean, guys, I wanted to believe in the whole Trump thing. I didn't vote for him the first time. I voted for him the second time, and after all these goddamn shenanigans, it's like, dude, I'm just trying to check out. It's like, I mean, I would love to support any awesome movement there is, but what I've really realized in these last few months is that it's never going to be a movement of positivity. This positivity is going to come from just, stuff you can directly control in your life. So if you can sit at home and spend some time with your family and get some things done and read some books and put some puzzles together or learn how to play guitar, whatever the fuck you do in your life, do what you got to do. But now's the time, I think, to really, truly learn. All the information's out there on the internet. Right now, if you wanted to take a college course for free, you could watch the tutorial. And that's awesome. I think we should be taking advantage of it. But, I think that most of life nowadays is geared towards monetary gain, monetary goals, just make this money. And I understand there's a toxic part of it that's so true. It's like you have to make a certain amount of money to survive. But then there's this balance point where you've made enough and you got a little bit extra and you could maybe pay for some stuff that you want to do other than just your rent, or your mortgage. And then you're like, okay, I want to buy this guitar or whatever you want to do, And you get that and you're like, oh, that hurt for a month or two or so. Or now I got to try harder to get the next thing I want to get. That's kind of like how it is for everybody. But once you break through that and you start making too much money, you get to this point where the reward system is all fucked up. You can't really depend on it because it'll drive your system all out of whack, And I know I'm rambling. I'm just talking. But, yeah, and I know be the change you want to see and stuff. But even, you quote that from Gandhi. You look at Gandhi, he was even suspect. So life is fucking crazy, man. There's all these false prophets everywhere. There's all these liars everywhere. There's all these profiteers off of these different movements. So one thing I've realized about movements, they're a big fucking scam because, one thing I loved about the right side of the Republican Party, which I felt like I was really a part of for the past 4 years, is that, it's like, cool, they're like family first and all this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, I like to smoke grass. This is really oregano, though, but, if grass was legal in my area, I would smoke grass. This is oregano. But, I feel like they had like most of their values in order, but they'd be like, can you believe this totalitarian government telling you what to think and what to wear and what to say? And you're like, yeah, I can't believe it, right? I think they should stop telling me to not smoke oregano. And they're like, well, hold on, oregano might be bad, I don't know. There's just this, that, and the third. But, oh, I appreciate that you like my little chat. It's good. Because a lot of times when I start talking like this, I'm like, they probably want me to shut up and keep playing the instruments and stuff. But just to, I get it, Braxton. But just to, I will say, look, I'm an honest person, and what I do is that when I stream, you basically get what's happening in this room, and what's going on in this room is usually what's going on in my head. There's a tiny little room in my house where we're not too modest and we're not too extravagant. We're a family of, let's see, it's me and my wife and the 3 boys now, and we live in a 1,600 square foot home. And it feels like modest at the same time. It feels like extravagant. It feels like nice, but it feels like quaint and cozy because there's so much of us. Hold on one sec. Is that my wife or is that a child? Oh, my wife. I saw those eyes. Saw those eyes like a snake. Like a little. No, no. You can eat some of that. You'll be all right. Nope. Just lay down. No? Anyways, I'm rambling, but you know, I just think at the end of the day, we're all obviously being pitted against each other. It's like, hey, if you're this person, you should look out for this person. You shouldn't get along, and that's what you hear. And then, if you believed everything you saw on the internet, you'd be like, wow, dude, the world is falling apart. Oh my God, we're all gonna die. And then if you don't believe in the coronavirus and you walk outside and you just live like normal life, you'll be like, wow, everything's really nice. I'm just walking down the street. Everything is really cool. I don't wear a mask anywhere I go. Nobody says anything. Matter of fact, I think most people, their entire life, they didn't have people wearing a mask. So when you have somebody who lives, 98% of their life and no one's ever worn a mask, and now everyone's mandated to wear a mask, when you see somebody, turn a corner on an aisle at a grocery store, your first instinct isn't to be like, oh, where's your mask? Most people look at me and they just go, hi, and I smile back at them and stuff like that. And anytime I walk into a store and they say, the mask or whatever, I'm like, no. I don't need one, but thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. I always tell them thank you and that I appreciate them. Because I do. I appreciate the fact that they truly care. Like, to be honest, they might truly care. They might be like, dude, they might be convinced, and they're out there like, this dude needs his mask. He's going to fucking die, And I appreciate that they care. Or maybe they just care about their job and they're trying to feed their family. I appreciate that too, right? So I'm not there to make an argument with that person. But I'll tell you what, I've known people who have been stopped and been accosted about their mask. Sir, you're not wearing your mask. Sir, you're not doing this. You need to wear your mask. You need to do what you got to do, right? I've never once been stopped, right? But I've had the mentality when I walk into every store that I've briefed myself. I'm like, listen, people are going to feel confused, maybe indifferent, maybe mad, maybe upset, maybe who knows these emotions that they're going to feel when they see somebody walk in the store. When they've bought into it, they see me without a mask, But, and I briefed myself, and I'm like, you know what? The best sort of thing that you could do is just portray like a positive, confident, mostly confident. I'll tell you, even if it wasn't positive, if it was just confident, you need to maintain confidence, because when I walk into a store and I'm wearing my mask and I got my kids, 3 of them without masks, and I'm like hanging out, I'm confident as shit. I'm like, yo, I'm shopping for this. I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get that. I'm like, nobody has once ever told me anything. Never stopped me. Never bothered me. I remember when it first happened, there was this guy standing in front of a store, a big chain store. And it, from an outsider's perspective, it looked like it was a dude whose duty was to, like, police, like, be the bouncer at the door, like, you wearing your mask, you wearing the mask or whatever. And this was my first time that I was going into the store, and I was like, dude, fuck this. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not doing it, right? And so I walk in the store doing this, and I see this guy, and I'm like, look, I'm already walking up here. If I stop now, prey behavior creates predator behavior, right? You see it in nature all the time, right? That's why they tell you when you see like a big creature outside and like a bobcat or something, they're like, don't run away like a little bitch. They're like, stand up and like look at it and be like, hey, bobcat, fuck off, you got to face it, right? So I'm walking in. I'm like, I'm not gonna double down. I know this guy's sitting right here. I've got my son, and we're just trying to go to the store to feed my fucking family, legitimately, right? And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going in there. I don't even own a mask, so I didn't want to buy it. And so I just walk straight past. I see it. It's like, dude, it's just so funny. Like, they had blue tape wrapped around it. It's almost like Walmart fucking caution tape. You know, it was like Walmart caution tape. It was like, caution, there's a sale. We're rolling back prices. Are you ready for that? Be scared. And so, like, you could only, and at this point, only half of the store's entrances were open. The other side entrance was closed. The other side entrance was closed. This one was the only one you could go through. And then there was a strict entrance and a strict exit, right? And so we're walking up, and I expect, like, here it is. This is the first line of defense. Your boy right here, wearing the mask, at the patrol station in the front, next to these fucking cones with the blue tape all wrapped around it. You know, I'm like, you know, expecting hazmat situations. This dude's like, he's just like, afternoon, sir. I'm not wearing a mask. My son's not wearing a mask. We just walked right in, and he's just like, afternoon, sir. Like, that's all. I thought it was going to be like, I thought he was at least going to be like, oh, you forgot your mask. At the very least, I thought it was going to happen. No, not whatsoever. So I'm telling all you people out there, just stop fucking complying with the shit. It's not going to come from this big movement. It's not going to be like, oh, Donald Trump and Jesus Christ came and saved my life. It's like, as much as I wish that was the truth, it's not going to happen. And you shouldn't, even if you're truly into like the Christian doctrine, which there's nothing against. I have nothing against it, right? But I just feel like there's a lot of unnecessary contradictions, because there's this thing like, they're like, trust the plan, you know. Donald Trump, you know, he's brought here by Jesus, and I hear all these people doing this. I'm like, no, it's not. Politics isn't going to save you from politics. And here's the problem people need to start realizing is that we have this problem with politics controlling our lives and being too domineering, really. And the problem is the politics itself. It's the political nature of it, right? And it's because we've given it too much power. I mean, the government's just too big. But what the hell, at this point, when the government's so big and you got all these people like, hey, I'm making money off the government, you know, they're paying my bills. I got unemployment and disabilities and coronavirus stimulus package. You know, I'm getting so stimulated by this large, huge package. Donald Trump pounded me with this awesome stimulating package, and now, you know, Joe Biden's going to stimulate me. It's like, guys, the political, just the whole thing is just destroyed. It's like caved in. It's just garbage. Like, what the fuck are we going to do, you know? And you know they're ready. Like, if anybody tries anything, they're just going to run the military. Who knows, you know? I mean, what do you do? So, at that point, it's up to your individual liberties and freedom, and they could take those away, and that might happen. But, I mean, what fucking... Let's see, Ben Areno says, one of the store mask greeter ladies said I was mental after I told her I can't wear a mask because of medical. Yeah. I mean, you're protected by HIPAA, right? It's just so ridiculous. I mean, what do you guys do? I mean, it's rough, man. I'm telling you, these are incredibly trying times, and the majority of people that I grew up with, I'm like, I thought they would be a little more, I don't know. Maybe I was the only guy. I mean, me and a couple buddies were into like punk rock and stuff growing up, and we were like, fuck the system, you know. But then you even look at that shit. You look at the old punk rock dudes from the 80s who sung about like, yeah, fuck the government and shit. You listen to them nowadays, you listen to the shit they have to say, oh my God, they fall in line with all these lefties talking about like, yeah, you know, these fascist Republicans. I'm like, I'm like, you guys never did grow up from the 80s, did you? You know? It's sad. What do you do, you know? But here's the thing. Here's the thing I will say. So there's always been this law of like 80 and 20, right? Where 80% of the population is just going to be oblivious, reactionary. They're like, oh, wow, look at, I'm trying to keep up with the Kardashians. What's up with Barack Obama? Orange man bad, That's your average Joe. And then 20% of the population is going to be in the know, knows what's going on, and isn't kind of duped by the system. But that's not enough to pull the swing. And that 20% is also the smart 20%, and they're the type of people who are like, I'm just, I hear all about all this population stuff and pollution, and I just don't think it's the right time to have kids, and I'm trying to get my degree and stuff. So the smart people don't have kids. And then you've got people who are in, let's say like the Jersey Shore people. They're like fucking in the club and just being retarded and just like, yeah, did this and did that. Oh, my baby mama this, baby mama that. Got 6 baby mamas. Those people procreate like crazy. And that's where it comes from. Got 80% of the people out there in the population, they're just out there trying to fuck in the club and get their rocks off and maybe trying to get some benefits from the government, get that government cheese, and they're all down for all this socialist bullshit propaganda. And then you got 20% of the people out there who are like, I understand this is a scam, and then they try to tell everybody else it's a scam. It's not going to catch on because it's not popular, because you really got to deprogram yourself, right? But what's the incentive? The incentive, once you deprogram yourself, is that like, wow, this shitty shit is happening, and I get to see it happen in front of me. These assholes are oblivious, So what the fuck do you do? I'll tell you what, I have no answers. It's just terrible. It's almost like that lyric I've been saying. It's like, better get some highway and clear out of town. Like, fuck, where do you go? What do you do? For me, I'm just not burying my head in the sand, but because I think that's not the right way to go. I also think for all these people who are like, oh, look at these demographics and so-and-so or race is declining and this, that, and the third, and they're so worried about their numbers. And I'm like, where are your kids? Not that I'm like specifically like that, but at the end of the day, it's like, I've got 3 boys, 3 young white boys. And white is such a stupid term. I hate to use it because really what I am is I'm Native American, French, I'm Spanish, and I'm German. Basically everybody in my past was fighting and fucking and conquering, just like everybody else, And it's like, so at the end of the day, they're not going to look at my kids and wonder what they are. They're going to say they're white, right? And so they're going to throw them in a box and say, okay, well, they're just white kids. And I see all the way that people talk about, quote unquote, white people nowadays, and I see how that goes, and I'm like, it's just tough because you hear all this bad talk, and you're like, wow, so you think they're just inherently privileged and racist? I'm like, they're my kids though, they're children, like they don't know anything. They're children. Like, I still wipe their asses. You think that they're privileged and inherently kind of part of the system, and they're never going to let it up on them. And I think that's awful because we're just getting pitted against each other. They're going to pit so-and-so against so-and-so and just try to break us down, to whittle us down into tinier pieces of wood that are easier to chop down by the machinery that they've already instilled. They've got a fucking sawmill chopping and ready to go, but they still got us out there running around in the Coliseum, cutting each other up with the chainsaws, just kind of knocking us down limb by limb to where it's much easier to put into the system and just wood chip it, And I don't dig that. I don't appreciate that. I think it's sad that ever since 2016, I've lost friends because of political disagreements. But at the end of the day, like, we are people that grew up together and knew each other, and things got estranged because of this heightened political spectrum, but they knew what they were doing. This whole political spectrum, they were trying to grind the gears, and they were trying to speed it up, and good Lord. Yeah, hey, Benderino, you're right. My boys are going to be legit. Yeah, you got to be a movement of positivity. That's it, exactly, because They're trying to take this from you. They're trying to take that from you. They're trying to be a bunch of brats out there and spoil your fun. And this happened to me growing up in the 90s in Southern California. It was like, you couldn't be macho. You couldn't stand up for yourself. You had to go and tell somebody. I had it rough growing up. I mean, like, not in like a cheesy way where I'm going to pull your heartstrings. That shit happened too, but I'm not going to put that on the live stream because I'm not really into that victim mentality. But here's a couple things that some stupid stuff that happened to me in the school system based on just how people behaved in Southern California. Everybody in Southern California is they're practically in PETA. They're like, hey, I'm standing up for animal rights and stuff. I was in elementary school, and I got dropped off early by my mom, maybe like a half an hour or an hour before school. Got dropped off early, and I'd be there, whatever, maybe if I stood out there half an hour to an hour early outside of my class. And one day it was like kind of rainy the night before. It was still rainy that morning, but it wasn't currently raining. So like all the worms were out, right? And I was just a elementary school kid, just being the way they are, just a young boy being a young boy. And there's all these earthworms out there, and I'm just kind of like stepping on them, but I was kind of cutting them in half with the edge of my shoe, And that's just dumb shit that kids do. Like, I've got a 5-year-old, I've got a 3-year-old. They do shit like that. Like, that's just life, right? And my teacher comes in early to, like, set up the class, right? Because they show up early before the kids show up. And so I remember, I'll never forget his name, Mr. Reynolds. He shows up early to class that day. And, well, not early. I guess early to open up like normal, right? But I'm always there early. And he sees me doing this. I was, like, cutting up these worms. And it wasn't like a bunch. It wasn't like it was like a fucking worm massacre. I was just, like, fucking around, right? Whatever. He walks up and he sees it, and he absolutely loses it. And he pulls me into class, and he's like, what are you out there doing, He's like accosting me about it, and I'm like, well, it's just kind of like stepping on the worms, I was just like, this was like fourth grade. I think it was fourth grade, and that was that. He tells me, and I was a smart ass. I will say I'm a fucking smart ass. He was like, I'm this close to suspending you. I was like, then why don't you? And I didn't say it aggressively. I was just like, then why don't you? Because I was curious as to why he didn't. Like, why are you this close? Why did you not actually suspend me, right? And so later on in that day, we're talking about this, we're talking about that, and then class is over, right? We're all about to leave. And that fucking teacher, he's like, just side note, would anybody out there in the classroom, would you go home and, like, anybody have, like, a dog? And they're like, oh, yeah, we all got dogs, He's like, would you go home and chop your dog's tail off? And people were like, no, oh, my God, that's god-awful. And the teacher was like, well, Country Gravy over here thinks it's okay to do that. Shame on him. And I was like, what the fuck? This was crazy. And, here's the absolute kicker, is that later on, that same year, in that same class, we dissected worms, right? And one thing that I learned in that class, dissecting worms, was that when you cut a worm in half, it doesn't kill it. It actually turns into 2 worms. Like, they're asexual, and it just turns into new worms, so you just, like, multiply them, right? And so I wasn't even out there killing worms. I was just multiplying their population, right? But this guy, like, fucking chastised me because he was such a animal rights activist, What a fucking pansy. God, I'm so glad I moved away from California and came to Texas. Good fucking Lord. God, another thing that happened to me in that same godforsaken fucking pansy-ass state was in the same school. What is it? 5th grade, and I've got a substitute teacher, and wrestling was really big at the time. So all the wrestling stuff, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, and what was Stone Cold Steve Austin's knockoff? There was like a dude that was like the same. It was like a knockoff though, but whatever. Goldberg. So Stone Cold Steve Austin and Goldberg, right? And This guy looked like Goldberg. He looked like the knockoff. He wasn't Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was Goldberg. So he looked like a knockoff. And yeah, it was like fifth grade or something like that. My teacher wasn't there, so he had a substitute. And this guy looked like Goldberg. And so I was teasing him about it. And I guess I didn't think he heard me, but in retrospect, he probably heard me because now that I'm an adult, I'm like, yeah, as an adult, you're pretty cognizant of what's going on in a room versus kids. They think they can get away with shit, whatever. But I may have not teased him. I really don't have a strong recollection of specifically teasing this guy. I thought like maybe he just heard it over, I don't know, just eavesdropping, right? But and that's only from retrospect. But this guy, I remember we had like most of the class was done. We were gonna take recess or whatever, and he was going around asking everybody what they wanted to be when they grew up. And if in fifth grade or fourth grade, this was fifth grade. In fifth grade, I legitimately wanted to be a comedian. In fifth grade, I was like, I want to be a comedian. That's what I was into. I liked stand-up comedy. I liked watching Cheech and Chong. I know it sounds retarded, but yeah, in fifth grade, that's what I was into, and that's what I aspired to. I was like, yeah, I would love to be a stand-up comedian. And I remember this dude. He was going around asking everybody before recess, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? Everybody had their own little story, and finally he got to me, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a stand-up comedian. He was like, you're gonna be picking up dog shit off the side of the road, and trying to wipe windshields, for dollars or whatever. And he had all this shit to say, and yeah, it was wild. I don't know, those fucking pansies in California. Jesus Christ. I think that dude was like a failed comedian. And he was, I think he was like, fuck this asshole. He wants to be a comedian. He was like, don't do it. You're going to be picking up dog shit and smoking crack and sucking dicks. And I'm like, what's a dick? He's like, what? But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Jesus Christ. I refuse to dissect the worms and frogs. They tried to fail me. My stepdad came in and defended me, told them I had a right to choose not. Yeah. Yeah. See, like, and I was just being stupid, like, fucking around. I had time to kill. I was, like, sitting outside of that fucking school, half an hour to an hour early constantly. So I'm just standing around. I saw a bunch of worms. So I was, like, kind of, like I said, I wasn't stepping on them. I was, like, cutting them in half. Yeah, I'm living the dream right now. Yeah, I'm living the dream right now. But dude, yeah. Oh my God, and that's why. Go on. But that's why my whole thing is that I wanna. I've got 3 young boys, right? I wanna homeschool all of them. You know why? Because I had the worst experience in school growing up, man. You would not believe how many times I was suspended. I mean, when you're talking about referrals, like I had to stay home, not stay home. I enjoyed that getting suspended back in the day, and then later on they figured out this in-school suspension. That was terrible. But staying home from school was a breeze. That was cool. I'm like, oh no, I gotta watch daytime television. Oh Lord. But I used to get referrals, which was like, you get a referral from the principal, and this was in middle school. You get a referral from the principal, and you would get 2 hours detention or whatever, right? And you could serve 1 hour one day, 1 hour the next day. So it was like 2 days you had to do it. I had so much detention I couldn't even, because I just had problems with authority, because I was like, what the fuck gives you the right to have, the control over me to do this or do that? I just had a huge problem with all that stuff the whole time. I just didn't have the brain to deal with the circumstances of I don't know, just school and like the dynamics of it. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. And I remember I was like best friends with the damn principals all the time because they saw me so often. And oh my God, I said some of the meanest things I ever said. I think I said middle school. I remember, so at that elementary school that I just told you about, the one where I was like stepping on the worms and the dude freaked out. His name was Mr. Reynolds. He was a paratrooper, in the fucking army and stuff, and apparently an animal rights activist. But so we used to have a PE teacher at that school, and his name was Mr. Degrassi or whatever. I think an Italian dude. And so I remember, just being out there disrespecting Mr. Degrassi. He's like, we got to run the fucking mile or whatever. And I would just walk. I always had some weight on me. I just walked. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to walk, man. You can't get me to run. And so I just walked a mile or whatever. I'd get a sweet fucking 18-minute mile, like 14 minutes. I was like, I was speeding it up. But, so whatever. He was my PE teacher, and he knew. He was just like, whatever. Well, homeboy got a promotion, and when I left Sutherland Elementary in Southern California in Glendora, and I went to Goddard Middle School, he was now the principal. He was like the assistant principal, and so he knew me, And I remember like the first time he got me in trouble. He didn't get me in trouble. With just one of these punk ass teachers, just didn't understand my style, my comedy. And had enough of my business, and sent me into the principal. I remember I got in trouble for something, and Mr. Degrassi's like, coming down on me, and I don't know where this came from, and I'm saying, like I said, this is some mean shit. I don't know where this came from, but I was like, Mr. Degrassi, you're never gonna be anything other than a PE teacher to me, and like, that's not much, but at a young age like that, that's pretty sick burn. Imagine you were a PE teacher and you knew this kid, and then you got your promotion, and now you're and by the way, this is your first year as a this dude probably talks about this all the time, but his first year as an assistant principal, he's like, oh, got to talk to Country Gravy over here. He's been fucking back at it. He's like, I remember him. Your boy used to do a 14-minute mile. Fucking asshole. He's stubborn as a mule, And I come in there, and I'm just like, Mr. Degrassi, you're never going to be anything more than a PE teacher to me. Basically drop the mic. And, yeah. I basically lived in that office for a period of time. I remember I lived in even in my elementary school, Mr. Ciablo. I remember this dude. He had like super deep set eyes, and he liked me. He was just like, dude. He's like, why? He hears the stories, and he's like, what? He's like, you told the substitute teacher to screw off. I remember I told this like Asian substitute teacher. I was like sitting in the back of the class, which basically, if there's a substitute teacher and there's a kid sitting in the back of the class, don't mess with that kid. Just leave him alone. He's already fucking having trouble. And so I was in the back of the class, and I was like, said something, and I was doing my best to just try to maintain that day, and I was just like, screw off, And I remember specifically the principal, when I got called in later, he was like, do you know what it means? You know what that means? You know what that means to screw off? And I knew exactly what that meant. But I told him, I was like, no. What does it mean? And you know what I mean? It's like you pass that ball back to him on his court. I was like, no. What does it mean? And at that point, he's just like, well, you shouldn't say it. I'm like, okay, deal. I don't know what it means. I'm not gonna say it though. I heard it on television. That happened a lot of times. I remember in middle school, I was saying some dumb shit. And same thing. The principal was like, do you know what that means? And I was like, no, I had no idea. I had no idea what that meant. I just heard it on television. Because I remember growing up watching like VH1 and them talking about like all the problems that the bands had in the 80s where they're like, oh, so-and-so did this and they got censored and they couldn't say this and couldn't say that. And I just remember seeing all these videos about like about them trying these people in court, like these musicians in court, about like, you say this, you say that, oh my God, with the children, we need to put a label on here that says this or says that. And I started to realize that adults think that kids learn that stuff from that, but you don't. You just hear it from other kids. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. You hear it from other kids all the time, right? Like when you grow up, like sex ed class, give me a fucking break, dude. Sex ed. I remember I told I told in sex ed they told us like, hey, if any of you guys are maybe too sensitive to this subject and maybe sex ed is a little too much for you to handle, then you can just opt out and you can go to the library every day. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, I'm way too immature. I cannot handle sex ed. I'll just start laughing and stuff. Yeah, I'm already laughing. And they're like, go to the library. So every day after lunch, this was after lunch. Get you right. So after lunch, I go to. Everyone else has to sit there and listen to their teacher be like the clitoris, and the penis or whatever. Like nobody wants to hear that shit. Like you really want to sit there and listen to your fucking teacher say that? No, I'm good. And so me and my buddy, we were like, we can't handle it. We can't handle it. And it was after lunch, so we just go after lunch. We just wouldn't even have to check into that class anymore. We would just go to the fucking library, and they had the coolest shit in the library. It was a big ass fucking library back in the day. I'm sure nowadays it'd all be like on the computer, but this was a cool library, and they had like legit stuff that you could look up. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, we just sit there for a fucking hour straight, just like at the library having a great time. Sometimes just photoshopping like pictures that we drew and stacking them up and photoshopping it just to slide the picture into our binders or whatever. But they just give you a passing grade for sex ed, and I'm like, what did you not know at that age? Like, really? Come on. Anyways, it was a lot of jibber jabber. I know it's just jibber jabber. No, Max, no. What's up? You're like a little cockroach. You taking care of her? Go lay down, boys. All right, hold on. My wife just sent an army of children at my door to be like, Mommy wants to hang out with you. I'm like, I understand. I want to hang out with her too. Right now, we're talking about very important discussions, Anyways, cheers. Man, you should do more shows like this, having a great time. The comedy show. Believe it or not, I've lived a interesting life. You know what I'm saying? But who hasn't, Everybody's fucking living an interesting life. Some crazy stuff going on, Like right now, I'm going to have to send... Well, like I don't want to send my kids to school, but like... Oh, man, it's just like the weirdest time ever. Like people send their kids to school and they're like, well, how am I supposed to teach my kid? I don't know how to teach my kid. And then they send their kid to school, and the school's like, well, you can be trans, and, you get operations and take hormones and stuff. That's normal. And they come home, and they're like, Mommy and Daddy, I could be trans. And they're like, well, I had no idea. It's like, what kind of life where you're going to live, where you're going to send your kids off to some place, and you'll be like, I don't know, honey. I guess they know better. I guess they know a little bit better. Whatever. But I will say, look, when you come to my stream, you don't know, Nobody knows what to expect because I don't even know what to expect, right? But one thing is that I expect is to have a good time. I appreciate all the fun I've had on D Live. And if we have to go to another platform, there we do. You know, it is what it is. At some point, you know. I will say I'm not fucking loyal to D Live. D Live's cool, but what I will say is I'm loyal to all you people who've ever watched the stream. Like, you guys are cool, but God, every platform kind of sucks in their own way, right? And so we're all trying to work around that. So ultimately, if there was some awesome place to go, we'd all be invited and have a blast, you know? It is what it is. Combining the comedy with the music is gold. I appreciate that, NetTV. Thanks, man. Yeah, hey, this is what I have to say, though, is that when I stream, I'm telling you, look, this is my thing. I've streamed for a total, you know, just over a year now on D Live, right? And my whole ethos the whole time was like, dude, who fucking knows what's going to happen? You just hit the button and you just go, right? Because here's what I learned. In the first half of 2020, not first half, the first quarter of 2020, I looked at this streaming thing and I was like, hey, let me take a fucking piece of paper and let me write out a list of what I want to do, you know? Like a set list. Like, I'm going to play this song, I'm going to play that song, and I'm going to play this, I'm going to play that, right? And I tried that a couple times. And it never went as planned, and then you panic, and then it sucks, and then, you know, whatever. So I learned the only way I'm ever going to be able to do this is that if I just roll with the punches and I just go, you know what I mean? Just hit the button and go. And NetTV's been here for so many of them. He knows that, thanks, Ben Reno, thanks, Gemma, and thanks, NetTV. But NetTV's been here so long, he knows that Sometimes, every once in a while, there's just some magic and some, like a gem, you know, like a certain jam or a certain moment or a certain thing that comes up that's cool. And I think that's a tribute to the fact that the kind of stream that I try to operate is completely free form. Because if there was any fucking thing that I had to adhere to, let's say, for instance, if I wasn't supposed to cuss, or maybe I was just supposed to play certain kind of music, or I couldn't talk about certain things, or I couldn't this, that, or the third, I wouldn't feel like myself, and I wouldn't this wouldn't be fun for me anymore, you know? And so when I fire up the stream, my intention is to see a couple familiar faces, a couple of friends, you know? Some people pop in the chat where I'm like, hey, I know these people, cool. Now I don't feel so alone. I don't feel like I'm talking at a wall. I feel like I'm talking into this camera at you guys, you know, and you guys are cool. And so I like spending this time with you guys. And one thing that I try to do, you know, and I said this the other day in the stream, but I want you guys to really internalize this because this is such a cool quote. But Bruce Lee, he said, you know, I don't fear a man who practiced 1,000 kicks. He says, I fear a man who practiced the same kick 1,000 times. And I love that. And so when I play guitar, I think about that. And it's like, if you like a song or you like an artist or whatever, it's not enough to kind of learn the gist of a song. You know, play it for the rest of your life. Play it over and over. Play it a couple times a day, whatever you got to do. And I don't have the kind of schedule that permits me to sit around and just play all day long and become some sort of virtuoso guitar player, right? But I'm a guitar fanatic. I love guitars. I think they're super cool. I've learned how to work on them last year. This, that, and the third, right? And so I happen to play some of the same songs over and over, right? And I've always worried that it becomes stale and people are like, you know, boring. This guy keeps playing the same songs. But I hope you guys know that I'm not your typical guitar player as far as, and I know that a lot of the guitar, maybe a lot of musicians with the credentials will frown upon this, but Like, I'm not your typical guitar player or musician where I truly don't sit there and obsess about the notes or how it's orchestrated or how it's written or the music theory. I kind of just I mostly learn it by ear. I'll watch a tutorial on how to play something and I'll get the gist of it, and then I never really have to look up the solo per se. I can kind of figure it out on my own, and that puts you in a certain category. You know, like people don't like it, and they're like it's not professional and stuff. But I don't really jive with that professional feeling because I don't feel like playing guitar or playing music should be like a pissing contest where you're like, well, you know, so and so played it like this or so and so played it like this. That's why I've never got into the argument about like who's better, Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix. I always thought that was such a useless argument because I was like, what the fuck? That's like saying what's better, the black cards or the red cards in a card deck. You know, when you're playing poker, what's better? Do I score more if I have the black card or the red card? It doesn't matter. It's all cards in the deck. You know, we're all built our own way, and we're all gonna live our own way, and whatever you love, you're going to excel in. So whatever sort of thing you put your mind and your attention towards, you know, you're going to get good at it. If I wanted to get, you know, great at painting or something, you know, if I spent the time to do it, I could do that. But to me, I never had the patience to paint because I like the instantaneousness of like my brush strokes or guitar picks. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's going on? You temptress. Oh, you temptress. My wife's trying to get me out of here, and she like knocked on the door, and I answered, and I was like, "What is it?" You know, because she's like, "Turn it down or stop or whatever." She was like, "I made a plate of nachos," and then just like disappeared down the hallway. Temptress. D Live owes you the lemons I just donated. They just didn't show up. Oh man, that's all right. It'll show up. I see one there. I see a couple. You rock, man. All you guys are great. I'm telling you. You know, this might not be my most popular stream or whatever. Not a million people are watching, but dude, I'm never worried about that stuff. It's. I remember maybe in the beginning of 2020, you know, I was like, you know, let's see how many viewers we have and stuff, but it's never really been that problem. But yeah, you guys rock, man. Net TV knows. Truly, when I scroll through D Live, all right. Yeah, man. Yeah, much love. Yeah, exactly. When I scroll through D Live and I look at the kind of content that's on D Live, and I don't want this to sound like any particular way, but I'm just saying, I'm surprised channels like mine aren't more popular because mine's more of a variety hour, and I'm not trying to up it or say this is cool or that, but sometimes I play tunes, sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that, but when you look at the vast majority of it, like playing games and doing this and doing that, I like the truther channels, and I like this, and I like that, and then some people are doing some stuff like they're cooking and stuff, and I don't understand like things like cooking or playing guitar or stuff like that don't catch on more. I feel like people, I mean, come on. Here's the problem. Look, people are tired of like the mainstream platforms and narratives, right? So they don't want mainstream stuff. So nobody realizes the huge market there is for like, hell, if you wanted to make a D Live cooking show, you could do that, and you would gain a huge fucking following. If you did it big and you did it right, and you responded to everybody, and you're in your kitchen with a couple cameras, you know, and you're like, hey, what's going on? I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm cooking this tonight, what's going on? And made it interactive, people would fucking love it. But instead, you just got everybody using platforms like this to play games. What a waste, man. Games are great. I'm not specifically talking shit about anybody who plays video games. I could care less. That's great. But, man, this platform could be great for so much more. And yeah, Freedom Grower, I feel the same way. That's why I watch Freedom Grower's channel like it's going out of style, man. I watch it all the time. Anytime I can catch it, man, I'm tuning in because, one, I love his perspective because he's a dude that resonates with me. When I hear what he has to say about things, I'm like, dude, it's exactly what I've been thinking all along, you know. And a lot of times it's hard to have a friend or somebody you know face to face who feels that way because it seems like nowadays more and more people are just like, hey, I'm just trying to be a part of the system and keep up with the Kardashians and get told what to do by the system and get told what's not cool and what's offensive and this and that. And I'm just going to be a reactionary. I'm not going to create waves. I'm just going to respond to them in life. And it's rough, man. It's gotten tough, right? Yeah, Freedom Grower's the shit, man. I love Freedom. I love his perspective. Dude, I'm telling you, I love his guitar playing. Like, he's a good dude. He's like the most, I tell him all the time, he's the most honest dude on the internet. I'll tell you that. Freedom Grower's the shit. Cheers to Freedom Grower, man. I would tell everybody, if you're not subbed up to Freedom Grower, go ahead and do that, but I'm pretty sure the three of you here are already. But, you know, D-Live's been good to me. I'll tell you, you know, I started out on YouTube, and I felt like a fart in the wind, you know, just gone. Nothing. Not even a reverberation, just a fart out in the wind in the giant wilderness. Then I came to D-Live just following Owen Benjamin over. And I never intended on streaming, and then I started streaming, and I was like, you know, maybe people would appreciate me playing a little guitar. You know, maybe that'd be cool. So I started to do that, and then I started playing records, and I leaned on the records for a long time because I was a bit shy about the guitar, you know. Yeah, cheers, y'all. But I leaned on the records for a long time because, you know, I was new to this, and I was like, you know, maybe I'll try to build an audience or something, you know. So I thought my channel was like too small to really, you know, it's not gonna. I was used to YouTube where nothing was gonna happen, you know. And then I was playing records and I was playing guitar here and there, you know. And truth be told, you know, I wasn't as good on guitar. Net TV, for instance, Net TV, you know, Net TV more than I would say anybody else. Even, no, I probably shouldn't say that. My wife will kill me. But Net TV has seen the progression of my guitar playing in the past year pretty substantially. Where I played a lot of the same songs that I still play, and we talked about it earlier, how you can always constantly improve and grow, you know, but I think everything has grown to a point where right now I've been trying to sit around and actually learn more and try to really put myself through a school of knowledge. And to be honest, that's why I haven't streamed as much recently. You know, taking like a week break or taking a couple days break is not that I think I'm saying I'm tired of it is the wrong way to say it, but I don't want to present the same content every single, like, night after night. Like, let's say if I did it fucking 7 nights out of a week, the same content. If I stream every night, I don't have time to practice or learn. Or I end up practicing on stream, which the added pressure of the camera and trying to perform, you know, you're not going to get, you know, much better. You'll make incremental changes, but really where I notice my incremental changes is when I spend a day or two off and I practice. I try to learn a new song, and then move on, you know, and then every couple of days stream, and then it ends up being pretty well. Let's see. I was stuck on watching a few channels. When I found your stream, you were rebuilding the Jazzmaster. Nice. Yeah. I remember that's when you showed up. Yeah. And I always appreciated your company. I think right off the bat, Banderino, I was like, I was like, this guy gets the axe. He gets the he gets the what do they call it? The moderator. Yeah, because I was like, I like this guy. He gets it right off the bat. But yeah, I was building the Jazzmaster, which soon enough I'm gonna do some work on it. I bought new strings. So when you're like me and you have a bunch of guitars, you got to buy a lot of strings, right? So I bought 4 sets. I put one on this one, and so I've been playing this one. But I've got 3 other sets. So I got to put one on the Jazzmaster, one on the other Strat, and one on the Telecaster. But man, just been trying to learn, more Hendrix songs when I can. It's hard to find time, legitimately. Yeah, it was cool watching that build. You know what? I would like to do more builds, and I would like to include you guys more and kind of show you guys what I've been doing with the wah pedals, Like inside the wah pedal that I've been working on lately, man, that thing is awesome. It's legit. It's been great. Let's see. I'm going to kind of scroll back. I've been missing some of these comments. Let's see. Net TV said I was pretty pushy on wanting video material. I hope that helped get your confidence up. Yeah. To be honest, it kept me busy. It kept me thinking like, okay, night after night, I could do this, and I was doing that for a long time, like night after night, playing like tunes and like getting that stuff out, and that got my comfortable nature in front of the camera and maybe like jamming and stuff up. But man, nowadays it's nice because I don't mind making a mistake. I don't mind goofing off. I remember it's funny that time that Marfugel News hosted me. There was like 207 people or something like that up in here. And at the time, I was just in the zone, and I was just like, whatever. Just kept rolling with it, and we had a blast that night. I think I kept playing till like wee hours of the morning. I say we jam another time or play a record and chat or something like that, but I got to take a leak. Be right back. Let's see if this works. Benderino, let's see if we get stuck here for 10 minutes on this screen. See how it works. All right, so that worked, but we'll see how well it works when I get back. But yeah, that was funny. Talking about earlier. That was funny talking about God, just school. School is an ass whoop, and that's why I want to. That's funny. We can chop worms while you take a leak. How fucking dare you? Oh man, it's so funny. I came in talking about that. I guess that resonated with you guys, but dude, oh man, shit was an ass whoop. And like I wouldn't fucking hurt a fly if I didn't have to, right? But good fucking Lord, man. That was a situation I went through in Southern California that made me That really encapsulates the whole Southern California vibe. You know what I mean? Fucking Lord. You know what I'm gonna do right now? To be honest, let me say this. I don't feel like playing guitar right now because I've drank enough to where performance is gonna be an issue. But let me say this. I would like to play some Jimi Hendrix on vinyl that would kind of show you guys some of the songs that I play that maybe you're not used, like maybe you haven't heard before, and you've heard me play it and you don't know the reference point that I'm going from, right? But what do you think, Nat TV? Should I stop the stream for a second and then come right back and do that, or should I leave it running because YouTube is just gonna keep shutting it down? If I start playing vinyl, it's gonna be over. I should probably shut it down and come right back. There's only 3 of us here. You guys can come back. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to play some vinyl, and we're going to listen to some Hendrix songs that I like to play. So some hand-selected songs that I like to play on guitar. We're going to listen to that on vinyl. We'll be right back. Let's do that, just so that way YouTube doesn't have a fucking heart attack. So here we go. I will catch you guys in a minute.